Yo, what's going on, you guys? Welcome back to another original deck profile slash recap video. This was my very first ever regional, and I decided to play tier. So I just wanted to go over my deck list and talk about my experience at my first ever regional, how it went, everything like that. My choices. I know it's like the end of the format. We're about to have new AGOV cards and everything like that. But this was my first one, so I wanted to just give you guys like a little story time. I have my matchups. I got to grab my phone. I have my matchups. I was really close to topping. I was one battle phase away from topping. So I'm going to go over my matchups really quick, and then I'll kind of talk about the deck list and some of the choices here. So round one, I played against Branded Chimera. I 2-0'd that. It was quick. It was actually like less than 10 minutes. So that was cool. Gave me a nice little bit of confidence. I thought I was gonna be more nervous, but I really wasn't that nervous. I was like more nervous for like my first locals, I feel like. But I think it's just because I've been playing a lot more recently. Like I play DB a lot. I play with my friends a lot. So it's like, when you're sitting down in front of someone and you know exactly what they're doing and you know exactly what their cards do, you know what end board they're going for, you kind of have an idea of what non-engine they're playing. It's not that scary. But there's certain things I need to get better at. But I'm going to get into all that in a second. So round two, it was Trap Tricks, another 2-0. And then round three was my first draw. I played against Manadium. I end up winning the first game, and I think he wins the second game, and then we go into game three, and there's like 2 minutes left on the clock as we start game three. And as you guys can see in my side deck, there's no scatter shot, there's no time card, which is, something I really overlooked. I really do need to practice with playing with a timer. Like when I'm testing from now on, I need to be testing with a timer because that's like a huge factor. It's not like on DB where you have, an hour and 20 minutes sometimes to finish a grind game or whatever. It's like people try to push through your board, it takes a long time. So that's really something to consider. And yeah, but I'm gonna get into like the deck profile and stuff like after I go over my matchups. But I was just saying, like, I literally don't have sprint. I don't. I decided to play this tier deck like a couple of days before. I was gonna play Branded Chimera. I ordered all the cards and everything, and my cards weren't coming in time. Like I was just testing with my friends because we had it coming up. So I was just playing this deck. I was playing tier. So I was like, I'm sure there's gonna be tier there. I want to give my friends different looks of tier. And so I started playing it against them. And when my Brandon Chimera cards didn't come, I'm like, okay, I guess I'm playing tier. But yeah, so that's just something as well to consider. And then round four, I played the tier mirror. That was my loss. That was my only loss. Actually, no, it's not my only loss. That was my first loss. So I lost the tier mirror. So at this point, I'm 2 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. So yeah, lose the tier mirror. I'm just honestly, if I'm being honest with you guys, I didn't have that much practice in the mirror. I needed more practice in the mirror. So yeah, that was tough right there. It was a good game. It was crazy. It went down to the wire. Went to game three, and he hit me with he got it. He got it. So yeah, shouts to him. And then round five was against Plants. I end up 2 winning Plants. TC Boo is absolutely insane. This card was crazy as hell all day. So I'm glad I played this card. I kept it in a lot going second in certain matchups, like Plants. I kept it in going second. Round six was Lab. I 2-1 that, so got the dub against Lab. So at this point, I'm 4 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. At this point, 4 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. And then round seven, I play against Dragon Link. Again, I left in TC Boo all after siding like games two and three. Actually, no, I 2-0'd him. But I kept it in going second. So it was a 2-0 Dragon Link. He just didn't see any Bystials the first game. He only ended up setting up Seal Savage. He ended up Seal Savage, and he had like Imperm set and like maybe DD Crow in hand, something like that, or maybe that was the second game. But when he went first again, he also just ended on Seal Pass. This time, I believe, actually, I don't even know if there's a Bystial, but he like started with normal summon Recharger, and once he was doing that, I was like, okay, I'm actually glad I didn't pull up with Dragon Link because that was another deck. I was like, I might pull up with this, but Dragon Link just breaks too much. And if you know where to stop Dragon Link, sometimes they can just fold to literally this card right here. You book that, it's like it's tough. And the shufflers really destroy that deck. I was killing with the shufflers. But yeah, so that was round seven. At this point, I'm 5-1-1. So I'm 5 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. I'm like, okay, it's my first regional. I'm doing pretty well. I just got to win one more of these rounds and I'm guaranteed to top. So round eight, I go against Manadium, and that's another draw. I win game one. Game two, we don't even get to a third game. We don't even get through the second game. But it was the dopest dude, bro. His name was Aiden, I believe. So Aiden, if you ever see this for some reason, shout out to you. He was hyping me up. He was like, "Yeah, this is your first regional. You're doing really good." All that. So Aiden was a dope dude. We drew. Like I said, we didn't get through game 3 or game number 2. He was up in life in game 2, and I had won the first game, so it's a draw. And then round 9 against Unchained, the only Unchained I played all day, and it was just an absolute brain fart of a fucking duel, bro. Like, I literally had secured it. I had won the game. So basically, I'll break you guys down what happened. Game 1, he goes first. I just end up scooping. Game 2, I go first, obviously, and I make my board. He can't really play through it. I end on like Beatrice, Kaleido, Solik, Crime, and that's really all you need. Like, that's really good right there. Oh, and a field spell, obviously. So I have like shuffle something, field spell pop, Beatrice send whenever I want. I got shufflers in graveyard for the Sarama. And he tries to push through. His last play is like Link and make the Yama, and I crime shuffle that back in the deck. He passes, and then I just go switch everything to attack. At this point, because I made a fusion on his turn, I have Dragos Depelia, Beatrice, and Kaleido on the field, and I attack and I win. So game number 3, bro's playing. We start game number 3 with like 10 minutes left on the clock, right? After, like, he was trying to play around all this stuff like Bestials, Nib. He was trying to play around everything, and he kind of brain farted as well and made like a really, really suboptimal board. He actually ended with like 0 interruptions, which was crazy. Or not 0. It was like half an interruption. He ended on like Yama and Grave and the Soul of Rage Link 2 to link off with one of my guys, right? So I start playing. I'm obviously easily cracking just Link with my guy. I summon Shaylin. I start milling stuff. Like, I discard a Malicious. I mill. I hit a Rhino or whatever, or maybe even it was a mill 5. And then, so I summon Rhino, and then I'm doing my things in the process of milling. So I have some chain links going on in the graveyard, something. And then I'm like, Rhino's on the field, so it's like Rhino 1, Solik 2, or something like that. And then he goes like Unchained Soul, Rage 3 to link with my Rhino, so it gets banished. So I was like, okay, so I banish my Rhino, it gets linked off. He has the Link 3 on board, and he has Shyama on board. That's the only 2 cards on board. So I get to a fusion. I make Kaleido. So I Kaleido summon and like target his guy to shuffle, target with the field spell Shyama to pop, and then I go chain link 3 Druis Worm, banish the Yama out of his graveyard. And so now he has no board. He literally has no board. I have Shaylin on field. I have Druis Worm on field. I have Kaleido on field. I might even, yeah, I have Planet on field too. So it was just a complete brain fart moment. And at this point, like, the clock was ticking down. And like I said, when he passed to me, there was 2 minutes left. So after I did all that in 2 minutes, and I was literally thinking, I was like, is there a way to kill him? Like, for sure, just to leave no doubts. But I literally won the game, bro. So as I was doing that, I don't know, I was looking at my hand and he called time, bro. And I'm just like, fuck, bro. That's really just honestly, it's a lack of experience, and it's something I need to get better at. Like, I started this video by saying I need to get better at playing in time and with a timer, and just, being in that situation is really what it is. It's a lack of experience of being in that situation and just knowing what to do, not like panicking, just, stay calm. It's not like I was panicking or anything, but it is stressful, bro. Like, when the clock's winding down, bro, it's game 3. I'm on the verge of, I'm on the verge of going 6 wins, 2 draw, 1 loss at my first regional. And I ended up losing that because he did gain 1,000 life points. So he was at 9,000. I was at 8,000. And I just had to go battle phase and swing, and I win the game. But judge called time, called freeze play, and I froze play, bro. So no time card, not even scattershot would have saved me in that instance. But there was times that scattershot would have saved me. So with that being said, the regional was good. I learned a lot, and I'm just going to be better next time, bro. So let's just get into the deck list here. So obviously the 3 fusion names, got to play them. Rhino Heart, I'm really liking Rhino Heart because it's a decent normal summon, especially if you pair it with Scream. It's really good, and obviously it's a good mill. Like, this card's a really good mill. So milling this card is crazy, and we play the Bahamut Shark Toad. So 3 Scream because you always want to get to the trap cards. Like, That's what this version of the deck is not like spam monsters. It's like set up double trap cards, Beatrice, and like Kaleido Field Spell, and that like wins games. That's enough. So, or sometimes even Bahamut Shark Toad, whatever, or Redoer, just minimal boards, 1-2 negates, and you're chilling, bro. With the trap cards, you fusion on his turn, you get pops. Like the deck is really good. Diversified interruptions. A lot of people went like pop Perla Rhino over something like a Solik today because maybe they didn't want me to get Solik effect, but Solik is like the best trap card, bro. Like this card is ridiculous, especially if you have Kaleido on the field, bro. It's like a negate and a spin and a fusion. Like this card is so crazy. I played one Heartbeat, didn't really come up too much today. For its on-field effect, target a spell and trap and shuffle it. That didn't come up, but it always comes up to add back trap cards. Adding back trap cards is really, really good. If you're like towards the end of your combo, you make Kaleido. Obviously, you go Planet Pop Kaleido, effect dump. If you haven't gotten to one of the traps yet, it's just a guaranteed way to do that. Tier Cash, 3 of, obviously. It's one of the best cards in the deck. Mill on you and your opponent's turn. This card's actually just a mill 5. Technically. So next up, we have 2 planet. It's just because I don't own 3. Shout out to Steven, bro. I only owned 1, and I was gonna borrow 2 more from my homie Steven. He pulled up. He only had 1. I was like, okay, that's fine. I was gonna cut Diviner, play the 3. But yeah, so I just stuck with the Diviner in there, and then 1 Wraitsoth, 1 Fenrir. This card was insane all day. Obviously, Fenrir's crazy. Starting with Wraitsoth is really, really good. Like, it scares a lot of people, bro. Like, I activated Wraitsoth when guy had the Seal Savage, and he immediately was like, Seal, bounce the Wraitsoth. He was like, yeah, you're not getting Fenrir. I'm scared of Fenrir. Fenrir's a scary card. Obviously played 1 Terraforming. Obviously played all the Ishizu cards. Played the 1 Diviner just because I was going to cut it for the field spell. Yeah, we just rocked with the 1 Diviner. It came up. It came up a few times. I didn't open it a lot. I opened it round 1 against Branded Chimera, and I ended up making Baron. I ended on like Fenrir, Baron, Trap Set, Tier Monster. So that was good, but that was literally the only time I ever made it. I've milled it a few times and brought it back off Cross Sheep to send like a Shuffler. Because the only fusion you really are going to make on your opponent's turn is like Dragostapelia or Kaleido if you haven't already. Diviner, Summon. Sometimes you don't want to mill 5. You just go ahead, send a Shuffler. Shufflers are really decent against a lot of decks, obviously. Obviously, the God cards, got to play them. Trivi Karma, low-key best mill. And I just took it out the deck. So let's go ahead and put that right back in there. I made 2 Bestials. I want to play more. There's just not a lot of room in this deck. The Bestials were fine today. Good against Labyrinth. I would say they were decent against Vanadium, but honestly, I kind of just never even dropped them against Vanadium because the risk reward was like meh. And a few times the Vanadium players, like, they just banished Visa Starfrost off board. So yeah, and obviously when I'm milling too, like the guy going second with Vanadium and my 3rd round, I was milling 10, like mill 10, mill 10. And I'm just like feeding his graveyard. He has 3 Visa Starfrost in graveyard and 2 monsters with the stats. So I have to like, bro, Shuffler, get all those Visas out of graveyard, bro. Like open game state, I'm using my Shuffler, bro. Like that Astraloud is so free for the OTK, bro. It's actually ridiculous. So Shufflers were insane. Druid Swarm, I was gonna say the Druid Swarm, I really wouldn't even drop on Vanadium. Sometimes hitting Visas and stuff, or like their arrival target is like fine, but the risk of them like talents look at your hand, afterwards, it's very scary. It is very scary. I'm not gonna lie. Like talents, when you just have 1 hand trap, it's just like maybe I just hold this and try to break the board with it. Obviously, they're good in the mirror as well. That's another reason I wish I would have played a little bit more Bestials because there was a lot of tier there. I only played 1 mirror match, but they would have definitely helped in that mirror match. So, yeah, the Mothman, the Dangers, these were really good for me today as well. I really like the Dangers in this deck. I tried the Shyama at locals before it's like, because once I realized I was playing tier, I had to go to one last locals on Friday before the tournament on Saturday, and I played the Shyama and stuff. I just thought it was like not as good as the dangers. Like you play it because it can unbrick you if you draw the Trivy Karma or whatever. But at that point, it's only gonna unbrick you if you're already milling, and if you draw that card, it's not that good, obviously. And it's good for a level 6. It's good for a level 6. It's good. Like if you have Trivy Karma and you end up milling Shyama, obviously it feels crazy. It feels really really good. I'm not gonna lie. But we cut that for the dangers, and like the Destrudo and stuff. I was playing like Destrudo, the Shayama, and those type of things. But those type of things, they're not dead in your hand, but they're good if you're already playing. And the dangers help you get playing, and they're one of the only aquas besides the tier names. Obviously, I'm talking about this one. It's the only aqua besides the tier name. So I made Garura with this a decent amount of the time. It's really good. And then if you like, there was also times where I'm like, last card in hand is like Mothman and like Sulik, and I activate Mothman. He hits the Mothman. I activate the Mothman. Both players draw one, discard one. I draw him early. I fucking throw that shit in the fucking graveyard, and I'm like Merly effect, and that felt good. So the dangers were really nice for me. I enjoy the dangers in this deck. Sometimes it's weird if you have like foolish field spell, and it's like, I'm not gonna activate this danger. Like a few times I've caught myself like just not activating the dangers, but they're good for bodies and everything. Next up, obviously this package. This package is insane. Like these make your fucking mills really really nice because they just put up bodies, bro. Help you make Link plays, Cross Sheet plays, Beatrice plays, Goddess plays. I milled the heroes against the Vanadium guy, the one we drew in round 8. And he had like full board, bro. He had Baron, Dispatter, Chaos Angel, the Ice Jade, and Cross Sheet. Like he had a full field, unaffected by everything. I had to like get bodies up. I was trying to play through all the interruptions. So I just get a whole bunch of bodies on field, make Goddess, and that was the game I had Mothman. My last 2 cards like Mothman, whatever, and Solik. And then yeah, we end up drawing that game, but that game was crazy. These cards are really good for bodies. They provide a lot of bodies, and obviously you can do the cross sheet play with the make the dangerous and then do the thing with the thing and the boom and the yeah, so and then my non-engine super poly. I only played super poly and Bestials for non-engine. Super poly was really good for me all day. Sometimes it was just decent, but like a lot of the times I'm super polying with my one of my things and my opponent's things. Like my opponent, bro, like against the Unchained dude, I had like Rhino Heart and he had the DDD, obviously. I start with normal summon Rhino Heart. He lets that go. So I send Tier Cash, Effect to Mill 2, like Chain Super Poly, fuse with my Rhino and his Caesar. Like a lot of the times the Super Poly, like it doesn't seem crazy because they're bored. Technically, sure, it's not super polyable, but you have Earth monsters, Dark monsters, Water monsters. Like you have a lot of attributes and things like that. Like against the Dragon Link dude, I'm in battle phase. Like I have just Rhino on field. I attack. He goes seal effect, bounce, and then return the recharger or the field spell to hand. And then he summons Magma. I chain Havness in response to Seal. So he goes Seal, I chain Havness, and then I have Havness Rhino on field now. And then I just get to super poly away his guy and my girl, and then I can trigger Havness in the graveyard. So it's good to like fuse with your own stuff. Obviously, it feels really good when you can take 2 of your opponent's things. But this card saved me like so many times today. Like even against the Trap Tricks player, I'm just like just taking their stuff. Like he shifted me game 1. I got shifted. I just had to set Super Poly Pass. That shit kept me alive because he was playing that double or nothing 10k attack go for game type thing. So that was the main deck. It was nice. It performed well. I don't know what I would change, so I'll get back to you on that. I sided Crime. Crime was really, really good for me all day. I usually keep this in, like post side, game 2 and 3. I'll keep this in because people always side Bestials against me. It's guaranteed. So this is nice for, adding those back. TC Boo was like MVP. This card was crazy. Won me the plant matchup and won me the dragon matchup. 3 Ash. I actually don't think I ever sided this in except for against the branded Chimera guy. So, you know, maybe you don't have to play this, but I like to respect branded because branded can pop off and it's kind of scary. And then this is actually fake. I'm not gonna lie. This was not my side. My side was really, really jank. I had like 2 droplet, 1 droll. Like I really had to just throw this together, bro. Like I really did. I did play Called By though. Didn't play the Gamma Seal. I did play another Druis. These were something else though. I can't even remember what else it was. What else was it? I think it was like an Xyz Encore for Droll. I had double droplet in there. Xyz Encore for Droll. Did I say that? Xyz Encore for Abyss Dweller is what I meant to say. And just like some, bro, it wasn't good. My side wasn't good. I wasn't as prepared as I should have been. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, but my side was kind of fake. It didn't look this clean. It wasn't this clean. But I probably would have sided more Bestials, more Drolls. The Manadium play, I played 2 Manadium players. Droll would have went crazy. I'm not gonna lie. And against the Plant player, Droll would have went crazy. And against the Dragon League player, Droll would have went crazy. And I only played against 1 Unchained. But there's just not room for non-engine in this deck. But this deck was cool, bro. This deck was dope. So obviously I played the 1 Redoer, played the Dweller. I went for the Bahamut Shark Toad. It was like fine. A lot of the times you do find yourself just with Rhino in this, and maybe like one other tier monster. So setting this is pretty strong, and the follow-up off of it is really nice as well. And it is just another Aqua, which actually just is important, you know, like making Kaleidos like your main big play, make Kaleido, spin something, pop something. So, you know, getting fusion material for Kaleido, not bad. Beatrice, obviously God card. I played Zeus. Didn't make it, not one time. So should have been something else probably. I played Dark, the Dark Charmer. Dark to Dark Charmer was really good. I took a lot of Bestials. I made Beatrice with those Bestials. I used the crash effect a few times to search for like a Shaylin to keep playing. Dark is obviously just crazy. Underworld Goddess. I would not cut this card just because I'm afraid of Pearly. And I don't have an out to Pearly in my entire deck. Obviously, like if you look at my deck, how do I beat Noir? I don't. So I play this. And honestly, bro, I could like cut it because against Pearly, if you start spamming stuff on the board, like they're gonna be scared of Goddess. Unless it's like a deck like Branded Chimera, which I was also thinking about playing. Because it has those bad matchups against Pearly. Like, how do you out Pearly without having to hard draw some non-engine in Branded Chimera? And if you're playing Branded Chimera and the Pearly player has a big Noir on the field, it's kind of hard to force their hand, you know. If you're playing this deck, Tier, gonna get scared as hell that you play Goddess, and they're just gonna get their shit linked off. So this card's nice. I made it, like I said, the one time against the Manadium dude. But I probably would not cut it, or maybe I would if people are respecting it. Cross Sheep was good. I made this a few times. Brought back the Diviner a few times. Brought back a Shaylin to make an Abyss Dweller in the tier mirror. Card's really nice. I like the card. Kaleido, this is, like I said, your big bomb. Your sticky boss monster. It's really good. I wish it could be used as fusion material so I could recycle it. Because once it's gone, it's kind of hard to get it back. You have to like shuffle it back. Like you can't fuse with it. So how are you gonna get it back? So if they out the Kaleido, beat over it or something, it's kind of tough to get it back. Then your fusion plays just aren't as strong. Played Drago Stapelia, pretty good. Liked Stapelia. Garua was good. Obviously, super poly targets are just Mando. And this card, I think somebody tried to imperm this on summon, and I just chain it. So okay. And then I played Floor. Like I said, shouldn't have played this. This should be Sprin and just cut the Diviner. But I'm gonna be honest, bro. Like that might not even be correct because every time I saw a Diviner, it was crazy. The only thing with Diviner is like, okay, so like if you're playing, say you cut these dangers and play like triple Diviner, right? It's just loses harder to a hand trap. And I'm gonna be honest, I didn't get hand trapped that much, so triple diviner might have been the play. So it's just tough, bro. Like, are people playing hand traps? Are people not playing hand traps? I barely got hand trapped. If I did, it was like Crow, the occasional Ash. But start with normal summon diviner. Hurts to a hand trap, especially if you don't have a sprint. Like, it's not an automatic level 2 body. Like, if it gets impermed, at least it's a level 2 body. You know, you can go into sprint, do some things. But if it goes through, You know, if I were to say to my future self, Jaden, you're not gonna get hand trapped at all, you know, during the run, then okay, I'm gonna play triple diviner then, bro, because this card's absolutely cracked. Like, you know, like send a shuffler, send a mill five, Baron access. This card's effing crazy. The only problem is, like I said, could fold to one hand trap, and it's not a good mill unless you can get to cross sheep and you're already playing at that point. So do you really need it? I don't know. That's the main problem with this deck is you just want to get going, you want to get started. But yeah, that was my regional recap. I don't know if I missed anything or anything, but shout out to all the homies that were there. That was dope. I ended up getting 58th place out of like 300 something people. If I just go battle phase in that last round, I get like top 20 ish or so. So that's just you know what you got to go through, bro. I will be back. I will be back. There's another regional in like 2 months. It's obviously gonna be a new format, and I'm gonna be more prepared for sure this time. Cause like I said, I really wasn't even gonna play this deck. I didn't have the most practice with it. I had the most practice with the Branded Chimera, and I was kind of cooking with that. That deck though, I feel like, I don't know. That deck is kind of folds to one hand trap sometimes. So I don't know. This deck was really good, all gas. I felt like if I was just a little bit more comfortable, if I was a little bit more sharp, if I was a little bit more experienced, I could have done really well. Six wins, two draw, one loss. But it is what it is. It's all part of the process, bro. I appreciate you guys. I had a few people come up to me and say they like the vids. So shout out to you guys, bro. I appreciate that. Showing support for the boy. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Just gonna do it for this one. I'm out.